Hello, everyone. My name is Jenny Birak. We're going to talk about the astrology of the new moon in Scorpio and moving forward from that. We have a lot going on, as you might be able to tell. So, I just want to say, first off, that I appreciate those with larger audiences who have now joined. So many of us who were brave enough to speak out for the truth cost us. My views decreased dramatically when I took a stand against the cult thinking and the cult beliefs. Found in what's called QAnon. I call it Qanonsense. All of these back channel ways that Steve Bannon and others are still driving their cause. And I'm not going to go into what his personal cause is, but I would just, Metatron is urging us to have grace and to have compassion for those who have fallen under the spell of false teachers. And I am repeating what he is saying. And to remember that the truth lies within us. And any time that we surrender power or control over our minds to outside forces, is what he's saying, that there's a danger then that thinking becomes a part of our own thinking. And so he's saying that many now and moving forward will begin digging out to the truth, digging up from the false, pit is what I'm seeing, that they've been. He's showing me the pit is just a place, he's saying, without light. That surrendering the thinking of being embattled, being enemies with others, or that there needs to be an adversary. And he's saying it's just it's reflecting their own internal conflict. The conflict within is what he's saying. The conflict within. And a part of the story of humanity is resolving inner conflict so that we can find our own inner light. And he's talking about going into the murky depths, the swamp of Scorpio, to reveal what is hidden there. And that it's good to be, he's saying, curious and looking and wanting to find the source of the shadow, the part of us that believes that we're separate from the light. But he's saying dwelling there there's no benefit in dwelling in that swampy energy, and that there's that the opposite of love is fear, and that the higher octave of Scorpio is bravery in battle, leading the charge, moving forward, and also using our discernment to cultivate truth and light and to share that with others, to spread that around the planet, he's saying. So he's saying that if anyone watching this feels that they may have allowed some of their power to slip away and gone over to the other way of thinking, is the way that he's putting it, then there's always just to make a simple request and action will be taken. And then he's saying, he's showing me, reminding me of, getting on the phone with different people through these especially last week, having to remove stuff from their space. And I don't tell them. But a lot of times when, I'm starting a session with a client and looking at some, deep wounds, is what he's saying, that these attachments have a place to anchor within. Fear and hope, love and light cannot dwell with fear. They are not bedfellows. And so he's saying if the reader or the teacher, the one that you admire, that you love, that you have affection for, it has led you into a place of fear, to simply recognize that he's saying that it isn't a shortcoming, it's a what are you saying? A misreading the energy, misunderstanding. And he's saying it's a delicate process to weed through the subconscious, and that there needs to be a conscious choice made and spoken aloud, that the source of the information is coming directly from beings or energies of the Creator's love and light. And he's saying that if you manifest, that if you request, that anything less than that is left over, he's saying, in your space, I simply remove that from you, and you never have to give it another thought. So I don't know who that is for, but I feel like more than one. I'm seeing several, not, like a huge number of people, but yeah, that was kind of surprising to me. I didn't expect he was going to jump right in. He said, we'll get it out of the way. Good idea. So, I wanted to say too, I was, in some ways relieved that the vision that I shared, because that's not easy for me. I usually don't. But I'm happy that the vision that I shared came to fruition, he is saying. In other words, that the president-elect did receive the number of ballots that were, put him over the top, a moderate win, and I had said something to that effect. I don't think I used the word moderate, but that, then the one refusing to give up the seat of power will be convinced to do so. So he's just urging us to, look for the light in the situation and to hold out hope for the light. I wanted to mention, and this he did talk to me about, that there are many people laboring under the misapprehension. He's saying that channels of love and light are directing the discourse toward, he's saying, the ways of the past when we resolved through violence, and to be secure in the knowledge that the light has everything in hand. And then he's showing me legions of all different beings. I can't even describe. Some are space beings, some are, he's saying, interstellar. Yes, interstellar. But that they're interstellar beings of majesty. That's what he's saying. That are protecting us, that are, he's saying, holding some to account at this time. And he's talking about, as these revelations unfold, maybe not reveling in the pain of others who find, he's saying that the concession or conceding to them, and what are you saying about defeat? Feeling that we're that they've been morally defeated, he's saying. And so he's just directing us, he's saying, toward kindness and compassion. And he's saying to remember the advice given the last time that we spoke here of forbearance, patience, tolerance, understanding, having compassion for those who are lost, feeling lost right now, is what he's saying. And then he's now directing me to talk about the mythology of the person. And that is a distorted reality, is what he's saying. That the person that you see on stage making those, he's saying, pronouncements, is in fact the person you believe him to be. In other words, what you see is what's actually happening. And he's talking about not allowing ourselves to give root to deception and people who use deceptive measures. So then he's pointing out that there's never been an offer of proof, he's saying, and that is why it is crucial, he's saying, to utilize critical thinking. He's talking about the clones, the clones and the secret prisons and hideaways and other things that I don't think I know about. But he probably, somebody who is watching, at least one person knows. Just to utilizing critical thinking. And so in the chart, where the South Node right now, and has been for a while since May, is in Sagittarius. And so while that continues on, and it went in May, and nodes stay about 19 months in a sign, 18, 19 months, that is false prophets. It is false prophets. It's lies and deceit and deception. And he's saying that he's saying this doesn't come from a place where they wish to deceive, but that they themselves have in fact been deceived, which is why they're able to speak these words with such conviction. Okay, so he's doing this new thing with me now. Well, newish, yeah. Where he just jumps in. Didn't tell me that we were doing that, but okay, good. So yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, so back to the vision. So I had said that was the first half of the vision. I did hold back about what I saw in the second part of the vision. Not the second part, but so it seemed to me what I was looking at was maybe a scaled back inauguration, which I assume that it will be somewhat scaled back. I've been to a couple of inaugurations, and one was a record-setting crowd. So, it's typically a huge event. And the chart that I talked about in the 2018 End of Corruption video, I showed the 9 a.m. chart, which is when the ceremony begins. Like, if you're attending, that's when you're there, when you get there. And that's when all of the, dignitaries, like the Supreme Court, members of the Supreme Court, representatives are all being seated. That all starts at 9 a.m. And that chart is a dark chart. I'm not going to, I can't dress that up a whole lot. There's a lot of restlessness in the collective is what you can see. But secret plots is also there. Maybe, something nefarious, definitely being, I don't know if it will be attempted. This is the advantage of knowing this. I think he spoke to it already. I can't really remember exactly what he said, but they're willing, is what he's saying, willing into fruition, something that would compromise the integrity of the process. Okay, that's the way he's phrasing it. And so we can ask, of course, and envision that any kind of plot or strategy like that it becomes like out of the dark, like out of the shadows. Some people had driven their QAnon van, or a Hummer, I think it was, to Philadelphia from Virginia. Somebody called in an anonymous tip, and they were able to confiscate the guns and the ammunition, and they got the people that had brought the guns and the ammunition there to disrupt the count of the vote. This is probably going to end up with the same number of electoral college votes that Hillary and Trump had in 2016. It will just be, opposite parties this time. Pretty easy for me to believe that 75 million people don't want to stand shoulder to shoulder with Nazis and white supremacists. not that easy to believe that 70 million people don't mind. And that's where we are. And so, this next 2.5 months, it's pretty intense. I mean, Mars is now today, or no, it was actually like 4 days ago that Mars came to the 15th degree of Aries. And so as he moves forward, then he is facing right now what's known as the Via Combusta, the path of fire, which is very significant if your moon falls like from 15 Libra to 15 Scorpio. I know some of you I've talked to in sessions about that placement. Very intense. And, that is what Mars is going to be now facing. He already did. He already moved through Aries, came beginning July 25th. He came to that 15th degree, and then he moved forward until September 10th and he got to 28, almost 29 of Aries, and then he moved back to the position he's in now. So he's been, tracing, going over the path of fire at least up until, the end of Libra. And now he's going to begin once again going into, opposing the path of fire. And anytime, there doesn't have to be a planet, a body for that to be active, let's say, because those are the reason that it's called Via Combusta is that the fixed stars that fall there are not so easy. I happen to have a lot of planets there, and it is, it's intense. I don't really know any different, but that's the way that it's going to be. It's going to feel intense. I know the word is overused, but it is, an extreme time. He's using the word extreme for humanity. It's choice time for humanity is what he's saying. And that is indicative of this new moon that we have coming in Scorpio. So, just if you can pray, or, to whomever, whatever source of love and light you elect to utilize for he's saying, what is in the shadows being exposed to the light. And he's saying that that's always a good idea to use that prayer, and that it works individually as well. If there's something that he's saying consciously or subconsciously maybe don't want to confront, you can always ask the source of love and light to reveal that in a way that is gentle and in a way that brings no suffering, is what he's saying. So individually that we can do that too. So I think that's all we're gonna say about that. And just envision that everything is fine, and that the one with hurt feelings is able to bring himself to do what everyone else ahead of him with that title has done, to graciously, Metatron is saying, accept defeat. And so we'll just hold that in our hearts moving forward. Okay, so we've got the new moon coming, and it's on the 14th and 15th. Let me give you those times. So it will be for 11:07 p.m. on the 14th for Chicago time, Central Standard Time. In London, this will happen at 5:07 a.m. on the 15th. In Sydney, it will be 4:07 p.m. on the 15th. And in Rio de Janeiro, it will be 2:07 a.m. on the 15th. So this is happening at 23 degrees and change of Scorpio, so not quite 24 degrees. And last month's new moon was also at that 23 degrees and moving forward for the next 4 months. So we've had two. We're coming up to the second. And then for 4 months following, every new moon, and this is the one in November is the last super new moon that we'll have in 2020. Now we go to the eclipses. But just keep in mind that all of these new moons are aspecting Eris, and who is the goddess of discord, who wants change and who does not care what she has to lay waste to, is what Metatron is saying. What she has to lay waste to in order to he's saying have a regime change, or, you know, in order for us to move forward individually, whatever hasn't yet, he's saying given up the ghost or died out, like a habit, a relationship, anything like that, that, you know, it's time for it to go. That Eris energy is going to be at play. Also, the Pluto Saturn conjunction from January, they came together at 22 degrees and change, so 23 degrees. So that's going to be aspected as well. Okay. And so, you know, that's what you know, the virus, of course, was a manifestation of that, COVID-19. So we'll see how that continues. Now, you know, with Jupiter and Pluto and Saturn, with all of those things going on, now that they're all moving direct with Pallas Athena, with Archangel Gabriel's asteroid is actually right in there as well. That makes me feel like something, because Pluto and Scorpio relate to research. You know, they just made the announcement that the vaccine is doing really well. And then there was another, the FDA gave emergency approval to the antibody treatment that they gave to Chris Christie. And it's very similar to the one given to the outgoing president. That's been made available as well. So that's good, you know, and that whole, you know, Jupiter, Saturn coming into Aquarius, that, you know, Aquarius is discovery. So that's good too. You know, it's what's next, what's new, something new, vital to life kind of thing, with all of that energy. So that's good as well. You know, and I'm not telling anybody to take it. I don't think that I probably will, at least at this time, be participating in that, but I don't even know like when it would be available to someone like me who's not in the high risk category. But anyway, it's good for that. So that's good. That's promising. And so now when we come to the 1111 gateway, which I'm not even sure because he jumped right in, I don't think I mentioned that. The sun is actually there right now. I'm making this video on the 10th in the evening, and the sun actually reaches the Zubin-Ishmaeli Serpentis 1111 gateway on the 10th. You know, the reason that the 1111 gateway became a thing is because it used to be that the Pleiades would rise at this time. Now the Pleiades rises, I think I saw it's like after the 20th of November, that will maybe the 22nd. But it's the end of the month that the Pleiades will begin to rise, and you'll be able to see the Pleiades. So yeah, that's also awesome. So that's something good. We're going to take whatever we can. Of course, anytime we come to the 1111 gateway, we have those two fixed stars, Serpentis, which, you know, the degree 19 Scorpio is known as the accursed degree because Serpentis is there. It's not a very beneficial fixed star. But then Zubin-Ishmaeli, which is the claws of the Scorpio constellation, or the scales in Libra, we changed it to very long time ago. You know, it's the northern scale. So it represents honors, wealth, distinction, a brilliant mind, success in politics, sports, war, religion, and writing. So maybe not the war, but if any of those other things are something you've been wanting to do something with, this would be the time. And so when we look at the chart for the new moon this weekend, you can see that Venus there in Libra today, yesterday, they opposed one another. But she's sitting in her own sign of Libra. So once again, we're being drawn to balance, remembering balance in all of this. Levity is what he's saying. And then, of course, with the South Node in Sag, temperance goes right with that too. Being overindulgent right now is not going to help us. But you can see that the sun and the moon there are with the asteroid Union and then Juno, who also relates to partnership. And so when you see it in a trine like that with Neptune is still retrograde. they're in a loose trine. They're, that could be where there's something going on, maybe with a union with a soulmate for you that is just being kicked off, but you wouldn't have like firsthand conscious knowledge of it. But it could be something that's, he's saying, being arranged behind the scenes. But what needs to happen first is that blue line, the blue lines that go from the sun and the moon to Saturn, Pluto, Pallas Athena, and Jupiter there. That is what's called a sextile, and that is a choice. Now, right at the midpoint, and this is the true node, so it's not quite the same as where the mean node is. The mean node is at 21 of Sag. That falls between them. And so it's really about finding faith in ourselves and motivation and power and strength in moving forward and making the choice that is best suited for the future. It's like that meme that goes around that says, dress like you are in the position that you want to hold, behave as if you've already made it, is what he's saying. Behave as if you're already there. See yourself in that place that you would like to be, and recognize that you're worthy of attaining your goals. Especially when we're in this position where, a lot of us in different places are going back into quarantine, it can get depressing when there isn't anything to aim for, because then it's like there's no future. So, when you see Pallas Athena in this, this could be a choice that leads to lots of money, like a lot of money. So there's a lot of potential for abundance in this energy. And, it's also like that devil energy in the tarot, breaking old habits. When you see Venus in square to those planets, Venus wants balance. She wants good health. And she wants, he's talking about consistency, and focusing on beginning a habit that you enjoy is what he's saying. Making a ritual out of cooking dinner. Instead of feeling like he's saying that we're sacrificing when we exercise, doing some form of activity. He's not using the word exercise, but something that you enjoy and that helps you to build endurance. And that's the words that he's using. And then you see Mercury there, and he has a lot to do with health. He's the little guy with the antennas on top, and that long green line that goes over to Chiron. That is for sure a health aspect. So, you want to watch out for that kind of thing happening now. Also, it's talking about that subconscious story that you're not worthy, that you're not going to make it, nothing ever goes right. Why would I expect that anyone's going to help me with this now? This could be pulling in partners, Venus, that could help you moving forward, and just asking for help. One of the weaknesses of the Scorpio energy, for those of us who have a lot of Scorpio, is that he's saying refusals of help. Then it's like, no, I got it. I got this. And then we're like, what's happening? It's because we aren't allowing ourselves to receive. He's saying to receive, to be the recipients of the help of the universe and the angels and all that entails. And it doesn't necessarily, angels work through people. The creator works through people. And so being open and accepting of help and recognizing that you're worthy and deserving of a boost, he's saying, of a little pick-me-up. And he's talking about like treating ourselves and doing kind things for ourselves, speaking to ourselves kindly, and giving ourselves, using the voice of encouragement rather than criticism. So, when Venus is squaring, though, relationships can be a little testy. But, it's mostly going to be things that are, if there's something that's out of balance, that could rear its ugly head. But otherwise, it doesn't seem like once she's finished then with that square, she's moving forward, and then she'll come into Scorpio on the 22nd. Pallas Athena was at the gate of the gods, and she's about strategy and focus on our goals. And she was at the gate of the gods when Pluto and Saturn met up in January of 2020. And then she joined the Capricorn Council in March. She moved with them. So I'm going to need to stop the video because the camera is not working. Okay, there it goes. I don't know why. I know it's not my new Mac because when I borrowed my son's, it did the same thing. So it's nothing to do with my Mac. It's just the way it is, the way the new Mac is. So, what else did I want to say? Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about, the voices. He's saying the voices in your head. So, a lot of times, and I'm not, please understand that I've already been, I've done the same thing already, so it's not, new to me. But, when we're reaching for voices, for guides, assistance from the other side, and I'm bringing this up because of the trine with Neptune retrograde, which can be confusion and fogginess. If we're going through ego, then we're getting, it doesn't matter what they look like. I want to be very, very clear about that. We are getting the vibration of wherever we are on the subject, and it doesn't matter what the guide looks like, okay? The energy of the creator is the same yesterday, today, and forever. It doesn't change. It's always the highest frequency of energy that there is. It's the frequency of pure unconditional love. And when the rays, or, the angels are rays, when they come through as color, however, a lot of people don't see them as angels like we're used to looking at or seeing in drawings because we've moved past that somewhere else. They are rays, they're a vibration. And so you want to be sure that you're going through the creator's pure love and light to access them. Otherwise, you can be channeling counsels that are your ancestors or your own ego from past lives, okay? I've seen that manifest several times. I'll go more into this when I discuss Metatron, when we talk about the Metatron energy. But I just want to advise everyone that they're never they're consistent, is what Metatron is saying. It's our ego that gets in the way. And so asking, the creator to bridge the gap, saying out loud, I recognize all aspects of me, understand that I am a part of the creator. I allow myself to speak to the highest vibration of so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. Okay? Even if you're used to something else coming in that you're, just more comfortable with. It's always a worthiness issue. And that's Scorpio too. It's when we think the actual one, a part of us thinks that we're not worthy of that engagement, but it is not true. It's false. So when people talk about false light, they're really just saying that someone's listening to an ego aspect of themselves. And that's why confusion has come about and politics has been dragged into spiritual realms. They're not a part of political theater, is the words that Metatron is using. Yeah, they don't do political theater. A little bit like kabuki theater. It's not, it's just not their forte. He's saying, they see the advantages and disadvantages to whoever is chosen to be in office. Really, the parties aren't that different. Trump was an exception to that, but he was more just for him. And that's in his chart. It's right there. So you can't really argue with that. I really don't know how people don't see that. That's confusing to me. But he needs his own thing going on, and that's who he's looking out for, because no one ever did. And I'm not judging him. I'm just saying. But I'm just going to tell you guys the truth. And I lost 19 subscribers for repeating the vision that I had that was true. that actually came true. I mean, I gained subscribers too, and thanks to all of you who are new. But, you know, it does, there's like a price to pay now if you tell the truth. I'm not really looking to be, my aim is not to be the most popular person out there. Success doesn't, you know, success isn't spelled fame for me. I've had those lifetimes, I'm good. But, you know, it's kind of ridiculous that you have to censor what you're saying. And I've been really like, when it's time to make a video, it's like, because I feel like I can't say what the truth is anymore. And I don't want to feel like that. And I don't want to leave the platform for people who are here for truth. But the truth is that YouTube is pretty overrun with a lot of nonsense right now. And it's going to keep going while the South Node is in Sagittarius. Now, as we begin to move forward, like starting, let's say, that period from like 2 months from now to 6 months from now, a lot of information is going to surface. Shocking information is what he's saying. And, you know, that we'll deal with that in 2021. I don't know about what I'm seeing next summer, but yeah, it just looks like a lot of stuff is coming to light for sure. What else did I want to mention? Neptune direct on the 29th. So with the first eclipse, Neptune's going direct, baby. I mean, lots of stuff's going to be coming down the pike. That's when eyes will open, you know? And so that's what I'm saying. Just grace and compassion. No, oh, I told you so. Nobody likes to hear that, you know? We've all been deceived by someone or something at one time in our lives. And that leaves us a lot of times with a sense of betrayal. So we don't want to be pointing fingers or I told you so. You know what I mean? Just to have grace for them. So Metatron wanted me to point out that that right now, the best way to gain strength is to surrender that habit, that relationship, the guards around the heart, allowing he's saying our heart muscle to be exposed, to be open. And he's saying when you're allowing yourself to hear words of encouragement from yourself, from your own mind, let that feeling fill your heart. Okay, so that's one of the remedies he's giving us. And then abundance, of course, in order to manifest, we need to be grounded. This is still such an ungrounded energy. I'm sure I don't need to share that. A lot of you probably know that it's a very ungrounded energy still that we're in. And so really sleeping a lot is important right now. Eating healthy foods as we're going through, you know, these new shifts and having upgrades done in the physical body. You may run into food intolerances where your DNA is not, you know, my DNA wasn't able to hold my vibration unless he's saying surrender bad eating habits. I feel funny saying that because I've kind of been, you know, playing around a little bit with that. But it's true, you know, I couldn't hold the vibration until I had to give up certain foods. And then he's talking about, he's showing me the fire of creativity, but he's showing me almost, it looks like the flame from a match. And he's saying to foster that and how important and vital it is to express ourselves. I had a funny story. I wanted to share this for her benefit too with the client. And so she didn't have a birth time. And normally when a client doesn't have a birth time, I just, you know, I say, show me. And usually I see it on a clock or I hear it. It's typically both at the same time. But this time he told me he said there is a purpose for this time. And I had a feeling it was not her birth time, but I didn't know, you know, what the issue was. So he had me choose that time because it showed that they have they're very hard on themselves, like so many of us are. And they had the houses that were intercepted in that chart, in their actual chart. Well, I don't know how to explain, I don't want to give too much away. But basically, she needed to say to me, I'm not comfortable using this time. I want to go with the time my parents gave me. And he was trying so hard to get her to say that. And she was getting upset with me because she wanted me to make a choice and say, and I kept saying, it's up to you. It's up to you. Because I mean, I'm not laughing at her being triggered. I one time had someone laugh at me in a healing session when I was triggered. It's not funny. um but he was trying to show her that her voice is important, is what he's saying, and how much the world yearns for each of our expressions, but hers is what I want to tell that to her. And he was saying that. And that there's a lesson in that for all of us, is what he's saying. Say what is on your mind. Instead of tiptoeing around issues, especially involving relationships, now is the time to air grievances in a gracious and kind and loving manner. That's what he's saying. And so, anything you can do to express yourself, even if it's journaling. I look a lot at charts and I say to the client, like, oh, you could do automatic writing. That's how it starts, is just by writing our thoughts. And then, you can ask when you feel comfortable that you're ready to take dictation, he's saying, from the higher self, the aspect that loves you purely and unconditionally. And then he was talking about awakening. Oh, and he was talking about self-expression being healing. That's the fire of creativity, having a goal, having a focus, planning. He's talking about plotting your revenge, but not in a way like against someone. But he's saying like taking your life back. That is always the best revenge, is what he's saying. Just kind of being lighthearted about it. But, that heals, that it's healing to do that. When you express yourself, when you use creativity in whatever way, you use creativity. And then really to just know that this is an intense time of awakening. And so a lot of revelations will come through. A lot of things he's saying that you've questioned for a long time, the answers will manifest. And a lot of answers that you've had in regard to the past, he's saying will now be resolved. And he was also then talking about, how I was saying, when you're saying kind words, to try to practice allowing yourself to feel that in your heart chakra. He was also talking about finding that peace, compassion, and harmony within the self. And that as we have these, he's saying spats going on within the collective, just a second, that there are a reflection of the disharmony happening within. And so anything that you can do, whether it's just stretching or yoga, integrating the body and the energy, the physical body with the energy body, integrating those, and then coming to the place of peace and harmony within, so that you're able to hear from your soul. And your soul, that's the divine birthright. Your soul is always expressing to you. A lot of times that's thought. A lot of times. Most times is what he said. Okay, so Mars is, of course, the ancient or traditional ruler of Scorpio. Pluto is, I think the last time that something went on, and I've already read that degree where Pluto is right now, it's about astral travel. So we did that a few months ago. But this is Aries 16. So Mars is at 15 and change, where he's come to rest and where he went into shadow on July 25th. So now we look at the 16th degree, because the 15th degree would be the karmic degree, and the next degree is what we're moving towards. So anytime you use the symbols, just keep that in mind for your own placements. It is to rejuvenate himself, a man is partially buried in the earth. You are able to connect to earthly existence in a direct, full manner. When things have become too confusing, complicated, or too lost in realms of speculation and fantasy, you know how to reground back into physical reality. Through your intense reconnection with the physical world, you renew yourself and those that you touch. The Chandra symbol for this degree is 3 sculptured birds, 1 black marble, 1 white marble, 1 solid gold. Fullness and completeness of thinking can only reach its full potential when there is a complete grounding of the mind. to say it another way, contact with the earth realm provides the mind with a laboratory, a place to grow and experiment and to see how thoughts and concepts play out. This is the essence of alchemy, rejuvenation through repeated immersion in the physical, experiencing consequent cycles of death and rebirth until the oneness with the light is attained. The Palladian symbol is the spirits of gems rising out of the ground at dusk. So the stones, the crystals. And then the Azoth symbol is warmth and love spreading both ways from a handshake. So he was talking to me too about seeding the vision for the future. And that is how we create the reality. We envision it, we see it in our minds, and that helps to bring it to fruition for the collective. So since there are others, directing their energy towards something nefarious going on, seeing everyone getting along, being conciliatory, remembering that we are always more alike than we are different, and just accepting others' shortcomings and faults in the same loving and compassionate manner that we accept our own, is what he's saying. And also, just really, I would be so careful with your vibration with social media right now. It really is getting, that new one that everybody's going to. I found an article, many, about Saudi nationalists have all gone to Parler. And so now there's a lot of nationalists all, spreading misinformation all over that site. And, if you are if you're listening to the same stories on the radio, like talk radio, and then watching it on YouTube, listening to it on the TV, going on social media, and it's just constantly, that really, if you're interested in awakening and coming to a place of enlightenment, there needs to be a pause. I went off of Facebook for a long time. I went off of all social media for a long time when I went through my really intense awakening, because it can't happen otherwise. There's too much clouding the mind. And I've had that going on with clients too, with all this stuff going on that we have, happening right now, with people being caught up in the illusion. So I will be very happy when Neptune moves forward, when we begin eclipse season at the end of the month. And then, we're rocket riding through the rest of the year, boy. It's going to be a real intense couple, 2.5 months, going forward. And, also somebody had said that I talked about the Jupiter-Pluto meeting, and I said that, November 12th, there would be a lot of death. No, the Jupiter-Pluto meeting, that's the third time and final time for the year. And that was the gateway that, yes, a lot of people were transformed, moved out of their physical body that they were in order to reincarnate. We had like a mass exodus sort of situation, and we are still in that energy. Chris Brennan actually posted on Facebook yesterday. He showed the deaths, like it was a graph of the number of deaths and the Jupiter-Pluto coming together, and they matched. So they correlated. So, it really is true that's going on. So we have this third and final meeting. So hopefully this will be the last hurrah of COVID-19. And now, we'll be able to get it under control, everybody around the world. And, it may be that worldwide we all have to change our, wear masks. I don't know what the solution is. But hopefully the manufacturers will get that ready and distributed safely to everyone. So there was something else that came to my mind a couple minutes ago. I don't remember. But so really exciting new moon. Scorpio energy can get anything done. You can face anything, can do anything. Doesn't have to be disastrous for us to be moved out of our own unwillingness to move forward. You know what I mean? And definitely something comes up with health. Have that looked at, and really be careful with your sources You know, I saw somebody today, and she's a sweetheart on Facebook, but she posted from some app that the electromagnetic, you know, these horrible things were going on today. If you would like to know the truth about that, you could go on the website NOAA and sign up for alerts for geomagnetic storms. I also used to have a horrible time with those. There isn't one today, but I did, you know, used to have a horrible time with those until I came into a more harmonious place within the self. But I used to have terrible headaches and be like a nervous wreck all day. So, yeah, you can meditate and do things to remedy that. And the creator never breaks your equipment when you're upgraded. It doesn't hurt to have a chakra opened. You know, those are something's out of balance. Just like when I drowned my laptop, I knew very well what that meant. You know, it wasn't because my vibration upgraded. It was just showing me where I needed to focus to get some work done. And so, yeah, we don't need to have any kind of drama play out to get our attention. We can get to where we need to get gracefully. All right, everybody, I hope that this is helpful for all of you. I know he shared quite a bit of information in the beginning. I hope it was clear for everybody. And I hope to be back next week. I really, really hope that I'm back next week. But I'm following orders always. So I will be back when it's time. All right, guys, take care. Bye-bye.